One of the main things I think of is the role that climate and coffee have with each other, and just you know, coffee being a harvested crop and the impact that just overall climate change is having. The supply of coffee is continuously at risk year over year. It's an important story that needs to be better told.
Knock, knock.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, welcome back.
Good to be back.
How was Peru?
Amazing.
I want to hear all about it.
Wanna go chat?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Oh gosh, so much stuff, so much good stuff to chat about.
How was the travel? The getting from point A to point B.
That was probably the most exhausting part. Right? So I had to fly from Des Moines to Atlanta, Atlanta to Lima. I am here in Peru, excited, super excited. And then from Lima, I had to fly to Chiclayo.
And is that just like a small town?
Small regional airport.
Okay.
And then from that small regional airport, we had to drive about 8 or 9 hours to the small city.
8 or 9 hours up a mountain.
8 or 9 hours up a mountain to finally get to San Ignacio. 7,000 feet above sea level? You're literally in a mountain, in the clouds. It was worth it because, again, the views were beautiful, and we met some amazing people, or I met some amazing people there. They made me feel very welcomed and kind of ease some of those nerves because, one, I'm going to not just a different place, but like a different continent. It's a whole new world, and I don't speak Spanish, right? So
coffee, people always talk about, oh, this was grown at this crazy high elevation, and you're always like, yeah. But then it's like, oh no, if you actually want to go see where coffee is grown, that's hard.
I really want to do it. This is what it takes. So I'm grateful for that alone, and then obviously everything else I learned along the way.
And so then kind of after you all got settled, you were able to go visit some coffee farms?
Yeah, right away. So it was like, go put your bags down, and then let's go get to it.
Get going, go down.
And a lot of different coffee farms, right? You had some that were focusing on, I'll call it traditional growing methods and harvesting methods. Others that were more focused on like shade grown and drought resistant coffee. And that came out of them experiencing a drought. And what I did learn was that San Ignacio, their entire economy pretty much is dependent upon coffee, 95%.
Everyone that lives there works in coffee in some
one way, whether you're harving, you're educating, you are importing, exporting, you're somehow touching coffee, right? And so, again, like 95% of the folks, to some degree, were working within that industry, and
that makes the drought pretty scary.
Made it very scary, right? And so they had to, out of desperation comes innovation, right? And so they had their drought-resistant coffee, and it didn't taste any different, right? It still had the same fruitiness, the same robust flavor than as just regularly grown coffee, which I thought was really cool. Just visited this coffee nursery. The cool thing about these coffee plants is that they don't need water to grow. These are all shade-grown coffee, and they are sin agua, or without agua. Like, this coffee is very resistant to the dry season, and it has a very unique and satisfying taste. It's ethical, it is sourced with care, and while it may not be grown in huge batches, the intentionality behind it is second to none. Puts more emphasis on why we gotta care about the climate.
Yeah, it's scary to think about them having a bad year and what that could impact for so many people, and then all the way here in Iowa, like for us.
Exactly. And they export coffee everywhere. When we first got there, they were loading up a truck of coffee to go to China.
Wow.
So it's not just to America. Like, that small town is responsible for producing coffee pretty much for the world. And so, again, climate plays a huge role on how they make money, and then how other people benefit from the crops that they grow. So we were there on a co-op. It's a bunch of folks who are working together, if you will, and they open their homes to me, and I just appreciated the fact that these folks didn't know me from a can of paint, and they were like, "Hey,
sit down and eat
come sit
plate."
down and eat dinner and breakfast with us." So I really appreciated that, and despite the language barrier,
Yep.
everybody speaks food.
Everybody knows when it's dinner time. And like, what are they excited about down there? What are people worried about?
They're worried about climate,
Yeah.
right? Because it impacts how they make a living. They were worried about the quality of their product and how what they produce, how it's perceived by other folks, right? So there was a lot of conversation between like, how does this taste based on compared to what you drink at home?
Okay. Yep.
You know, they took a lot of pride in the scoring
Like
of their
producing a
coffee.
highly scored coffee.
Exactly, right. So, and that's just how intimate they are. It's a very manual process. So, you know, it's a lot different from something being on an assembly line, if you will, versus someone really getting in and producing this with their hands. And like I said, they took a lot of pride in knowing that their coffee, again, not only was fueling the world, but people enjoyed what they were drinking. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Conectar y Chito va a dar la parte de arranque.
Mira cómo quedó.
Aquí.
Allá en el corteo.
Dale.
They're removing the skin from the coffee bean. And again, what sinks, bueno. What floats, escape.
So obviously we have a lot of farms here in Iowa. How does a farm in Peru like look compared to kind of what we're used to seeing in the Midwest?
Yeah, we visited this one family farm that was fully sustainable. So,
Wow.
And not only they ate what they grew,
Yep.
and you know they sell it also to the community as well. So you know, they use rainwater, they use, you know, it was fully sustainable by the truest definition, and they were very intentional about that, to not be so reliant on outside energy sources and things of that nature, because again, you never know how climate may impact year over year what they do. And the fact that they had those fully sustainable farms, you know, really spoke to the foresight that they have. It's about having something that they can pass down generation to generation, and it teaches their kids and gives them an appreciation for, again, not only the product they're producing, but the land within and of itself.
Nothing goes to waste. So that water that was used to wash the coffee beans is now going to be used to water more plants. I love it. Fully sustainable, self-sufficient, environmentally friendly.
It made me think about our practices, from just recycling to, again, from where we source our coffee. I learned a lot, and I definitely want to incorporate some of those learnings into how we run things here at Black and Bold.
Gracias.
Mucho gracias. Hey,
Gracias.
Jose, thank you for everything. I appreciate it. I have people that I can now call amigos, amigas, and most importantly, mi familia. Gracias.
Muy bien,
señor.
gracias.
Gracias. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we've really got 3 big buckets, so I kind of think about how we divide and conquer on this to impact them more. We've got haulers. Megan, if you can dive into that with your team, and we can regroup on what that looks like. Rod, Mr. Schedule, and you probably got the biggest feat of all of us. Now get going with our co-manufacturers on the packaging side and seeing what we could do to help bring the number down on that.
Deal.
Cool.